Which celebrity gives you "I made a bargain with my soul" vibes?
Tom Cruise definitely sold his soul, but he seems pretty comfortable with that.
Tom Cruise was literally the first name that came to mind. He's got that Scientology weirdo thing going on that seems like it should have derailed him professionally, yet his movies continue to largely be bangers, and he never ages. Dude's doing X Games stunts himself at 61 years old. He made a deal with Xenu for sure.
Every single person that works with him absolutely gushes about how great he is. Check out Bill Hader talking about working with him on Tropic Thunder. Scientology is weird as shit and is definitely responsible for Cruise's super sanitized public persona and probably his wife choices too. Mimi Rogers recruited to him Scientology after all, but I'll be damned if the man doesn't seem to have the professionalism and work ethic and charisma to overcome religious ties that should make him infinitely distasteful to audiences. Edit, wrong Mimi.
He's literally the first name that pops into my head when these kinds of threads pop up. Which celebrity is weird behind the scenes wouldn't surprise you if they were a serial killer. Do you think are secretly Satan or drinks the blood of children? Everything he says seems very, very calculated, like he sits at home and comes up with scripts in his head for every possible question anyone would ask him. I know his charm is fake, yet I have a suspicion I'd still fall for it if I were to ever meet him. At this point, he's been in for so long, so deep he probably couldn't get out if he tried. The shit they must have on him from audits and just his continued involvement.
Someone on Reddit months ago said that Tom Cruise does all of his own stunts because he knows death is the only escape from Scientology. I think about that every time I see him mentioned anywhere.
He thinks he is essentially at God-tier Scientology status. I think he does his own stunts because he thinks he won't get hurt because he is a god.
Kenneth Copeland, those eyes.
I have no idea how people look at him and think, good person. He is truly something else in the worst way. Like when he closes the door to the bathroom, takes off the human suit to air out the evil kind of vibes.
I had to Google him to see what you meant, and yeesh, I don't think anything could have properly prepared me.
He looks like he's possessed by a demon wearing a skin suit that's too small for him, her, it, whatever.
I was just thinking he looks like he has a demon or an alien inside him.
If Satan is real, Kenneth Copeland is it.
I mean, if there's one thing Satan would probably do on Earth, it's take the form of a greedy, hateful evangelist pastor. Pete Davidson. I believe he found a genie, and his 3 wishes were to not die of an overdose, to become a famous comedian, and to sleep with many beautiful and famous women.
I love the theory that he's Beetlejuice in real life.
I knew a guy just like him back in my 20s. So funny, very likable, and very fucked up. He died of an overdose at age 28. His funeral was insanely crowded. I have no idea how Pete Davidson has so far managed to avoid the same fate as my friend.
Kris Jenner. The devil works hard, and kudos, but that bitch works harder.
To be fair, I don't think Kris Jenner sold her soul. She just sold the souls of all of her family and their descendants in perpetuity.
Like some House of Usher shit, I feel this as well.
Rumors that she encouraged her daughter making a sex tape with Ray J to kickstart her fame. So yeah, wouldn't put selling her soul to the devil past her.
Not a rumor. The email proof was released last year.
Ray J released a whole video with receipts saying Kris and Kim pushed him to sign release papers. Jared Leto.
Honestly, Leto is the type of guy that would totally brag about it if he did. I think he wants to sell his soul, but he's still shopping around for the right buyer.
I think there's just no takers. I imagine some demons sitting around discussing the souls they culled for the week and comparing. Would you want to be the demon who had to say they got Jared Leto?
The fact that he has a cult and hasn't been canceled yet boggles my mind. James Corden. How is someone so notoriously unlikable and unfunny and fucking everything? I've never met anyone who has anything nice to say about him if they know who he is, yet he keeps landing movie gig after movie, gig after TV show after special or hosting job, or you name it. He either made a deal with the devil or he must have the world best PR team and agent.
Him hosting the Friends reunion pissed me off the most. Could they find literally no one else?
Could they be more stupid?
They should have had Conan do it. He already did an interview with the cast back when the show was on.
Will Smith. The guy seems like he's always acting, even if it's just an interview or whatever. I think he's forgotten how to turn it off.
That's because he doesn't have a lot of range. All his characters are just riffs of Will Smith. Will Smith is Will Smith in Will Smith, the Will Smithening 2.
Do I need to see the Will Smithening 1 before I watch the Will Smithening 2?
Work in film, and I had the chance to shoot and work directly with him once for social content. This was a year before the slap. I remember telling my friends how empty his eyes looked, like he wasn't even there. It was weird. I get that his life is insane and hectic, and he's probably tired, but I felt bad for him as he didn't look happy and present.
Joel Osteen.
If demon possession ends up being real, we absolutely have to check him and Kenneth Copeland first.
Copeland first, Osteen second. Copeland makes even Osteen look normal. In fact, Copeland may just be the devil, honestly.
My grandma, who passed away in 2015, used to say his toupee was to hide his horns.
Beyoncé and Jay-Z. It's just weird to me how untouchable they are by society.
It's because they don't say shit about their personal lives unless it can be spun into an album. The non-disclosure agreement they have must be flawless.
Apparently, the NDAs they require people sign are in effect for generations, so information can't be released until decades after Bey, Jay-Z, and their offspring are dead.
This is wild, but I don't think it's legal. You can't bind subsequent generations to a contract you made.
You misread. They're saying the contact extends beyond the deaths of their children, not that the signer's children are bound by the contract. I have no clue if this is accurate or legal or whatever. Just clarifying what was stated.
Lawyer here. There's a nifty contract clause relating to successors and assigns that most people don't read or think about, and it usually reads as follows. This agreement and all of the rights and obligations shall inure, i.e. transfer, to the benefit of and be binding upon the parties and their respective successors and assigns. Simply put, the successors and assigns are required to perform the agreement in the same manner, and to the same extent, that the parties would be required to perform it if no succession had taken place. A successor in an NDA is someone who takes over responsibilities from someone else in the agreement. This could happen in several ways. They might choose to take over, inherit the role automatically, or be assigned by law. For example, if a person bound by an NDA passes away, their successor, like a business partner or inheritor, would then be responsible for keeping the same secrets confidential. When an NDA mentions successors and assigns, it's saying that the confidentiality obligations in the agreement apply not just to the original parties, but also to anyone who takes over their responsibilities later on. So, if you're bound by an NDA and pass on your role to someone else, that person has to keep the secrets just like you did.
Oprah Winfrey. I know she has a lot of followers, but I never liked her delivery style.
She's also platformed a bunch of shitty people.
Dr. Oz, Dr. Phil, so many con artists and grifters. I think she has a terrible sense of who to trust.
A lot of valets from the hotel I used to work at with also would work events at her house, and I can say I never heard a lot of positives about her.
It's crazy when you consider how she got her start. She was a daytime TV smut peddler that made Jerry Springer look like high society. Somewhere along the long developed this self-righteous, holier-than-thou attitude.
It was after she hosted white supremacists. She realized that she gave them a platform to recruit people and decided that was probably not a great idea.
I've lived in the Chicago area all my life, and I remember her heyday in the 90s, and everyone seemed to love her and always had a weird feeling about her.
I've only ever watched one of her specials during school where she interviews Elie Wiesel, author of Night, his memoir about the Holocaust and being in the concentration camps. I think they tour the remains of Auschwitz together and maybe go to a memorial museum. And I don't know, man. She just rubbed me so the wrong way. Fairly shallow, not super invested, kind of fake. Might be a stretch to say soulless, but on the path to soulless. It's not like she didn't show any emotion, but it just screamed constructed. Because of that special, I never understood how she got where she is, just on the basis of her lacking interviewing skills alone. How has she gotten anywhere? Much less platforming some of the awful people she has so successfully. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Ugh, she fits in the category of, I wish I knew less about her.
I will forever believe the story that she stole the Shakespeare in Love role from Winona Ryder via Harvey Weinstein.
And she stole that Oscar from Fernanda Montenegro. Even Glenn Close, that was running at the time, talked about how that Oscar should have been Fernanda's. We can thank Weinstein from that.
Can't believe I had to scroll down this much to find Gwyneth Paltrow. I think she genuinely has an eating disorder, though. It's just shitty. She pushes so much of this shitty ideas and shitty health products to the public. I can't fathom how much damage she's already done.
Ryan Seacrest. What is he good at again? Yet every year, he's still there.
He fills a weird need. There are times, especially with live TV, but interviewing in general, that you need someone to be human enough for it to feel real, pleasant enough, you aren't turned off by them, but also forgettable enough that they don't overshadow, or, in any way, are memorable enough to take away from the thing we should actually be focusing on. He is really, really good at that.
You heard it here first, folk. Ryan Seacrest is the most ordinary American, the pinnacle of the bell curve, the ideal NPC. Chris Brown. He beats up women but still very popular and continues to win awards.
Yeah, beating up or raping women doesn't harm the career of NFL players either, unless there's a video of it.
That makes more sense to me because NFL owners don't give a shit about anything other than money and winning, and there's a few layers of disconnect between the players and the fans. For Chris Brown, people directly decide to support him. So odd to me.